Well, thank you for joining me, Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist. I wanted to do a quick talk on, again, relationship fade. This category can often be contributed to narcissistic behaviour, but I don't think that's total. There's many different reasons why people end up fading in a relationship. Sometimes it's characteristical on their part. Sometimes it's a pattern of behaviour on their part. Sometimes they're the victim of somebody else's behaviour and they're just left standing. But the fading, what I'm trying to talk about here is illegitimate fading away from a relationship because of characteristical flaws or damage, wounding, pain experienced in a previous relationship, or just some kind of personality flaw that comes with the person that you choose. Now, the problem with it is a lot of these people know how to hide these flaws at the start, but it doesn't take very much to bring them to the surface, particularly if there is an issue that's personal to the person that needs to be fixed, and they find themselves in a situation where their value for the problem and the things related to it are more important than the fixing of it. And so what they get put into is a pressure situation, and pressure's always going to bring the skeletons out of the closet. It's just how it works. And that's when you're going to find the true nature of the person. I found myself in a situation where I've had this happen a couple of times, and it's where you got to be careful with mothers with children, because you can't get mixed up in their maternal instincts. I mean, these children are with these mothers long before you or I come along, and that has to be appreciated. But at the same token, you've got to know yourself and where you stand, and if it starts to get muddled up and you start to get caught up in things that are really got nothing to do with you but are the downfall of the characters within her family dynamic or DNA, then you need to weigh things up very quickly and make some serious decisions very, very fast, or you'll wind up on the end of some very nasty dysfunctional behaviour. Because when it comes to maternal things, bias comes in most of the time, and the consequences of the decisions made don't really matter to the people that are conceiving and enabling the problem, because they're going to have each other when you're gone anyway. There's a victim mentality behind this. You'll find that most of these people are the victim of somebody, but usually that's a cover-up in some ways, not in all ways, but partly a cover-up for their contribution to the breakup. Now, a lot of ladies these days call men narcissists illegitimately when a problem comes up and it can be fixed, but it's too close to their heart to really want to do anything about it, like a child or a young adult complaining about the new man or this kind of thing. In the last relationship, I said to the lady, well, if there's a problem with your son, send him to me. But when the reality of what the problem was revealed, there was no point in coming to me or anything, because I was the problem. Excuse me. The only way that was going to be fixed was by me being removed, or her stepping up and saying, pull your head in. But mothers won't do that if they've created a golden child out of adult sons. They just won't do it because it's too close to their heart. And if they fall out with their children and the man leaves, then it undermines their position, doesn't it? Their authority, and the children take authority. But in most cases, the children have got the authority in the relationship anyway, because most women that I've seen, except for my mother actually, haven't stood up to fix the problem when necessary at the time. The relationship's been lost due to me terminating it. And the thing was, it wasn't a matter that we didn't love each other, it was just a matter of things are so far out of order, it's intolerable. And so they end up with the child, with their family anyway. So I've always said, I don't think mothers that mothers do have children, I don't think there's any such thing as a single mother. Because in every case that I've had, the mother hasn't ended up single after I've gone. They've ended up with their children. They're emotionally attached to their children. They find solace and companionship in their children. They only want an adult male, in most cases, to meet a need that the children can't meet. In some cases, incestual cases, which is against the law, they do sleep with their children. But if they get caught, they go, oh, it's a horrible crime. So you end up in a relationship with somebody that has characteristical behaviour of this type, and you're not aware of it, you're headed down the rabbit hole. You're going to be like the person that went before you. That's not to say that the person before you didn't contribute. Usually there's a laziness somewhere or an aggravation. It can be substance abuse, it can be alcohol abuse, which leads to other mental health problems. And when there's drugs involved in families, no matter how much you want to doll it up or pretty it up, the children are going to be damaged anyway, because all they've seen is the dependency on substances. They'll be dependent on the substance themselves because they've been culturalised to do that. They don't know any other way. And all the dysfunctions and mental health issues that come with these things that they think are actually helping them contribute again to the demoralising of a relationship. So I'm just thinking about it all and how obvious it is. A lot of men aren't aware enough to consider that they're only one argument or one situation away from a breakup, no matter how much you say, she says, or you say you love her. It could end these days any moment without anybody even knowing. Like the last lady I was with, the relationship deteriorated so badly, so quickly, so disgracefully on her part and her family's part. The attack on the relationship was so bad. She didn't even have a clue. She just said, I thought everything was all right. We were trying to repair things, but you can't repair something if you're repeating the behaviour. It just doesn't work. You've got to fix the problem, or you're going to lose the person. And what you've got to understand, men in particular, is, again, if these children or their children live with the parent, then the mother's not on her own. Even if the children are the problem and driving that woman around the bend and she loses a partner, they still go on. They go back to business as usual. They comfort one another, and, live life around one another. She might get a new supply. Don't worry. People are what they are, and their karma follows them. And you just have to get out as quickly as you can as soon as the person starts to show disrespectful behaviour or deteriorating behaviour that is not relative to your performance. Once they start to deteriorate, it doesn't matter how they cry, what they say, the behaviours, the behaviour and the performance is what counts, and if it's not there, you need to let them go straight away. I mean, when you get to my age, 56, I had all this worked out at the age of 18, and I've met women that, have been so blind unto themselves that they think you're blind to what's going on as well, and they get a rude shock when you say, hang on, this isn't cricket, this isn't how a relationship should be, and then they try and snap themselves into line. But when somebody snaps themselves into line due to a wake-up call, it's not going to make much difference, because we return characteristically to how we are, and the trouble will repeat. So it's a matter of tolerance, I suppose. It's a matter of experience. But if you're in a relationship with somebody and they begin to fade, and you've had a breakup over it and you've got back together and it starts all over again, usually within a week, 2-3 weeks, you'll know you've got to say to that person, you need to go. Because otherwise you're going to be taken down, you're going to be in a relationship where you're not happy, your needs aren't being met, the other person's completely ignorant and blind to what you're screaming out for. They don't care, because if they did care, they put the effort in. They're not the person that you've met. You're actually seeing the person that they are, and you are then you're going to have to say to yourself, okay then, well, this took 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, maybe 2 years for this to manifest, but here we have it, and this is who we've got, and this ain't going to work for me. This is Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist, New South Wales, Australia. Bye for now.